go ahead and do this and see if it's on there. Okay.
Oh, finally, Bill Heller is here. Could not get you on the computer.
Hi, Bill.
Hello, Dale?
Yes, hi.
Okay.
Can everybody see this now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead. We're going to go ahead and get started here. We want to welcome everyone to our second state call so far, and just please make note that our next state call will be the fourth Wednesday in June. That's June 28th. So we're going to try and do these, and it'll be at 8 o'clock. So we're going to try and be consistent with these and stay with the fourth Wednesday of each month. All right. Okay, first thing we wanted to do is once again I'm getting some background noise, so can everyone mute themselves, please, and then unmute when you want to speak. Okay, that's good. I just wanted to review our goals one more time. That our goals are to, in fact, grow the grassroots in the state of Indiana, strengthen our legislator relationships, and then educate our supporters and the public. So those goals have not changed, and those remain our goals. Anyone have any questions on those regarding those goals? Okay. Our agenda for tonight, we're going to address the state goals, which we've already talked about, but we're going to talk about the regions. We've had some changes in how our regions are set up now. We're going to address who the region captains are. We're going to talk a bit about the executive group, and we want to introduce to you the concept of the sister state, which we now are a sister state. So we'll be getting into that tonight. But let's talk first about the regions. As you know, the last time in our call in April, we did announce that we had divided the state into 9 regions. Well, we still have 9 regions, but what we have done is we've now based those regions as close as we could to the federal congressional districts, the 9 federal congressional districts in Indiana. So most of them were very close to what we had come up with originally, but except for a couple areas. But so now we're set up to have 9 regions in the state, and again, they're based on congressional districts. So, and we are now referring to each region by their congressional district number. So the Northwest region is now Region 1. The Northeast region is Region 3, and so on and so forth, where we have the 9 regions, as I've indicated here in this highly articulated map. So, and we'll get this distributed out to everyone. And of course, on the right-hand side, you can see then the district breakdown per region. So, anyone have any questions or comments on the
Dale?
region setup? Yeah.
Yeah, are you putting these up on the screen? Because I got a paused pretty much as soon as you started. It says paused across there, and it went light on me.
Ditto.
You are putting things up on the screen. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to back out and come back in.
No, I've got pause with his screen background, the car showing, and a bunch of icons on the screen. Like
Really?
Yeah,
that's what I've got.
Background image.
Okay.
Now that's it. Much better.
Well, guys.
Oh, there you go. Finally, yeah.
That was my fault. Sorry about that. Let me see if I can back up here. You could hear what I said, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, there's the goals, and then our agenda for tonight. The state goals, the regions, region captains, executive group, sister state. Okay, and then here are the regions that we've come up with. Hopefully everyone can see this now. These are the 9 regions that we've come up with. They correlate to pretty close to the congressional districts in our state. And as I mentioned, now we're referring to each region by number, region 1, 2, 3, and so forth. And you see on the right-hand side then the district breakdown per region. So anyone have any questions on that? Okay, someone else just joined us.
Ed Paraguay.
Well, hello, Ed. You finally made it in, huh?
Well, I can normally listen to these things even though I don't have a mic on the computer, but today I couldn't, so I
You could. Okay.
spend the money and listen on the telephone.
All right. Okay. Region captains. We now have 4 region captains. Peter Youngsma is captain for Region 1, Paul Phillips for Region 3, John Ackerman for Region 5, and Bob Hall for Region 9. Bob, are you on the call tonight? Bob, are you on the call tonight? Must not be. Okay. All right. Actually, it was Bob's idea and suggested to us, I should say, that we think about setting up the regions based on congressional districts. And David and I thought that over, and we thought that was a pretty good idea. So it was Bob's idea, and we went with it. And just so you know, Bob Hall has had tremendous success with the town hall meeting concept, and he has developed a very, very successful group down in his region, and he is near the Bloomington area, but he's now a region captain for Region 9. But we hope to be utilizing some of Bob's ideas and procedures and steps that he went through to develop that group that he has down there. So I think you'll be hearing a lot more with regard to Bob Hall in our state. Anybody have any questions on that, or anything about the region captains? And of course, now you see, you notice the regions without a region captain. So we are looking for candidates to fill those roles of region captains. This might be a good time to mention that those particular regions without a region captain, David and I will be making phone calls to the district captains in those regions and kind of getting an idea where they are, and perhaps maybe see then if anyone has any interest in taking on the region captain role. But David and I will be contacting those district captains. David, are you there? You want to say anything more about that? David?
Yeah, I had to unmute myself. Sorry. I made the phone calls to the district captains in Region 2. So far, I've heard from 3 of them. 2 of them are still of the 3 that I've heard from, 2 of them are still interested, and one of them has decided that he can't fit it into his schedule any longer.
Okay.
And then I'm waiting to hear from the remaining region captains or district captains.
Okay. Okay. And now, as far as the region captains that are in place, I hope you're doing the same thing with your district captains, and to make sure that they're on board and have seen the expectations that we've sent out, and that they understand and agree with those. So hopefully you are all contacting your district captains as well. All right, let's move on here. Our executive group. Now, this group, I want to let you know that in our next call in June, we plan on focusing more on this executive group. These are individuals, and these are individuals that are in place to assist us in the state. And we want to better understand what they do, and we want to encourage more district and region focus on what they do. So we're going to be David and I are going to be focusing much more on this group. We have a new candidate we want to mention, Paul Cruzan. Am I pronouncing that part right, Paul?
Yeah, it's Cruzan.
Cruzan, okay. Paul has applied to us for the Veterans Coalition Director position, and which, as you can see, is open right now. So we're talking to Paul. Paul, you want to introduce yourself and give us a little background?
Yeah, my name's Paul Cruzan. I live with my wife and kids here in Brownsburg, Indiana, on the west side. And I'm a business owner. We have independent pharmacy here, and we've been doing that for about probably 17 years, my wife and I. And, I just, I can't even remember how I saw about you guys. It was probably on a social media feed or something, and I started looking into it in Convention Estates. And so I really was amazed at what you guys are doing and the plan for that, because I've always felt pretty disgruntled about what's going on. I felt like there wasn't a way to fix some of the problems. So that's kind of how I heard about it, and yeah.
Okay.
Well,
okay. Now I know, Paul, can you tell us a little bit about your military background?
Yeah. So I was in the Air Force, and I was a police for 3 years, and I retrained, and I was a military historian for about 4. Before I got out, I grew up in Michigan, and then I wound up getting stationed at Grissom, and then I actually was a historian there until they closed down the active duty, which I think was in 91. And then I stayed in Indiana, and eventually went into retail management for Revco.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think you already you're going to get on Slack with us.
What's that?
David talked to you about getting on Slack, that messaging program.
I'm not sure if he did or not.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that now.
Yeah. Okay.
What is a military historian? You got to tell me what you do in that.
Well, that's what when I was looking to retrain, and back then they had the old Okie Data spreadsheets and just listed all these jobs, and I saw military historian, I'm like, I had no idea what that was, So actually what we did was we wrote the history of the wing or the base we were assigned to. We wrote 2 a year, so it was a 6-month document. And in that document, it just kind of was a conglomeration of all the data that we'd collected, all the things that we'd done, whether it's flying sorties or whatever it was, and analyze that if there were trends, and then the wing commander would sign off it. Then it became a permanent record at the
Okay. Wow. All right. Paul, are you in contact or involved in any veterans groups now?
No, I'm not, but I have a lot of guys come in the store, actually, in a pharmacy, because we take their insurance. So I'm actually been just marketing that because I love, obviously, taking care of veterans, and so I'm contacting them. I meet a lot of them, when they come in, 'cause I'm always in the store. So.
Okay. All right. Great. Okay. Well, anybody have any questions for Paul?
I sure do. This is Peter Youngsma, and
yes, Peter.
Welcome, Paul, and thank you for your service.
Thanks.
I just wanted to say too. So I am the coalitions director. I don't know if big thing. Yeah, get on Slack because that's kind of where you find everything out and find out about meetings and stuff. There's actually a national coalitions director call on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, and we're working on some things there, and the Veterans Coalition piece is a big part of it. So, welcome.
Thanks.
Yep. Good. And Peter,
if I could interrupt for just a second on the veterans thing, there is also a Veterans Coalition Slack that he should be on.
Oh, there is? Okay.
Yes, there is.
We'll show you how to do all this, Paul.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah.
We're confusing you probably right now.
No, I'm definitely in the fact finding, kind of, learning everything I can about it. So.
Okay. All right. Good. Now, Peter, you've been a coalitions director. You're relatively new to that role, aren't you?
Yes. In fact, I just sent the thing in a week or so ago, and I just learned that it was accepted a couple minutes ago. So.
Oh, really?
So great news. No, I wasn't sure, but I've been on these calls, and we're working on with Jackie and that group to sort of gather up all of the coalitions that our 2.2 million supporters and petition signers have signed. And actually last night, Jackie said they were thinking about doing it sending out emails to people from the national level, but they decided they want us to do it from the state level to make it more customized by state. Basically like a little survey asking people if they belong to any coalitions, whether it's veterans, homeschooling, gun rights groups, Tea Party, industry groups, like Jackie's member of the National Federation of Independent Business Owners, that kind of thing, any kind of group. And I've got a spreadsheet with a lot of different groups. Find out if they're a member of those groups for two purposes. The first one is if we know, and basically people will get tagged in Nation Builder to say, hey, I'm a lifetime NRA member, or I'm a veteran, whatever the coalition is. And if we can kind of do analysis on that, and when we go meet with a legislator to say, hey, here's Paul sitting Paul who's on the phone here sitting next to us, he's the coalitions director, and we have 500 veterans that are COS supporters in your district. So incent the legislators to support us, and then so that's the first one to help us as we influence legislators to say, hey, groups or industry groups or whatever in your district support COS, so you should too. That sort of thing.
I think.
Second one is,
hold on, Peter. I want to just emphasize that's so very important. That is directly there to help us achieve our goal of strengthening our relationships with our legislators. So that could be of a great benefit to us. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's really the main point, and Jackie said she did that successfully in Georgia when she was the Georgia State Director. So she wants to replicate that across the country. But the second piece, besides influence the legislators, is to go back to the groups themselves, like the NRA or the Heritage Group or the NFIB, the National Federation of Independent Businesses, or whatever it is, and say, hey, you know, we've got like a million or whatever, 500,000 NRA members in COS. So you guys, will you sign this public petition, kind of like the 230 George Soros, leftist groups put that big petition out, said, anti-COS. We want to put one out that says, here's all the great patriotic groups that do support COS, and the way to get them to sign a public petition like that is to say, hey, all your this many of your members are also COS supporters, so support us. So those two things.
Good. All right, great. Well, that's like I said, we need to get a better understanding of what each of these important people do, and how they can help us at the district and region level. So that's going to be our focus for next month. George, are you on the call? I know George was going to have to. Hey, George, are you there?
I am.
All right, good. George is our grassroots coordinator. Many of you maybe have
wrong George.
Wrong George. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Well, we'll move on. So, if anyone knows that any of you that might be interested in filling any of these positions, or know someone, please let us know, because we're always looking for some people for these positions. All right. Any other comments or questions on the executive group right now? Okay. Wanted to make everyone aware that there has also been some region realignments at the national level. And I won't go into all the different regions that they've created now, but we are now in a different region. There is no longer a past state region that we were a member of previously. And our new region director is Ken Quinn, and we plan on introducing him in near future to everyone. But there are the states that are in his region now. And note that Indiana, Alabama, and Georgia, which are past states, are now referred to as sister states. And I'm going to go into this concept of the sister state, but does anyone have any questions regarding the national regions? The national regions are basically geographic regions across the country, where the whole country is divided into geographic regions.
Do you have a map of those regions?
I'm sure we can get one once they have everything all settled down. I'm sure there will be one available.
Did you say what a sister state is? I might have missed it.
I'm going to go to that right now.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Okay, let's talk about what is a sister state. Well, a sister state is a past state. And our role now as a sister state is to help the other states in our region that have not passed the resolution. And we're just starting to get an understanding here of what our role really will be and to what extent that it will be. But what we can tell from right now that it kind of depends upon the needs of the particular state that will be requesting our help. Right now, we have a request from the state of Virginia, and they would like a calling team from our state to make calls to certain districts, supporters in those districts. And our region captain, John Ackerman, Region 5, has agreed to lead this team. And John, you're there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. We're asking now that each of the 4 regions that have region captains in place, we're asking you to provide 2 people to John to be part of this team. And they're going to have to obviously be individuals that are willing to make phone calls to people they've never met before. We don't know, we're going to be provided from the state of Virginia, we're going to be provided the target district or districts, and we'll be given a list of the people to call and a script to go by in calling them. John, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I'd be glad to. Starting about 2 or 3 months ago, I volunteered or responded to a request to volunteer to help Virginia. Virginia is really in play, and the National Convention of States believes that in next year's Assembly 2018 that it's very possible for Virginia to pass the resolution. And they're working really hard this spring and summer to do the kinds of things that we did 2 years ago, which basically, to oversimplify it, it's reaching out to our legislators, our state level legislators, building relationships with them, educating them, and getting them ready this summer and this fall for the 2018 session of the Virginia legislature. And the state is it's a big state. It's a lot bigger than Indiana, and there's a good amount of resistance there. Good amount of opposition. The John Birch Society has been working overtime, scaring people about their Second Amendment rights. You know the drill.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, they've had I don't know how many, but thousands of Virginians sign the petition, and now they really need to get organized in districts. And with this new concept, this sister state thing, Virginia is asking Indiana, Georgia, and what's the third state, Dale? Is it
Alabama, I believe.
Alabama. That's what I thought. Okay. Asking each of those 3 states to do their best to come up with 10 individuals who would each be willing to make 10 phone calls a week. And I know a lot about this because I'm on the Virginia State Leadership Team, because I don't think I made it clear what I'm doing for Virginia is I'm serving as an interim regional captain until they get somebody to take that region. And I think I've got about 16 or 17 districts in that region and only about 5 or 6 district captains. But what they've done is a very strategic thing. They've looked at the districts where the senator and representative, either one or both, are known opponents of the Convention of States, and they're working on trying to flip some of these people by building the grassroots organization in each district. Their goal is to get between 50 and 100 active volunteers in each district. And what they're trying to get geared up for is a 1 week effort where these volunteers in Georgia, Alabama, and Indiana would each make 10 phone calls to people who've signed the petition in that district and ask them, if they're willing to reach out and get acquainted with their elected representatives and say, look, I'm in favor of the Convention of States, and here's why. So we'll leave that on. Okay. And I was on a conference call 2 nights ago with Virginia, and so far Georgia has come up with 3 volunteers, and they're pretty happy, pretty happy with that. In Georgia, who are willing to help. And I told Dale earlier that, if Indiana can come up with any number of volunteers willing to make 10 cold calls a week, okay, I let go in the middle of that process. For 1 week, they're going to focus on one legislative district, and then the next week they'll focus on another district where there's opposition, and they'll move around the state and try to strengthen all of the districts that are weaker in terms of legislative support. And so, I'm going to be looking over the roster of all the people in my region here in Indiana and the other 3 regional captains in Indiana. If each of us could find 2 or 3 people in our region who are comfortable doing that. Not everybody is, but there are some people who are comfortable picking up the phone and calling a complete stranger and introducing themselves, saying, I'm with Convention of States, and I know you signed the petition, and here's something you can do to help us out. And so, in a nutshell, I guess that's what it's all about.
Right. Okay.
John and Dale, could I get Bill Heller?
Yeah, Bill.
Does this, in any respect, replace the quick reaction team? I've been doing that for over a year, where we're doing exactly this thing, down to the nub in the legislature and trying to motivate the grassroots to be in touch.
To my knowledge, Bill, it does not replace that team, no.
Okay. Well, I volunteer to do it. I've done this for well over a year, and I bet I've talked to people in 25 states.
Have you really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's great. That's great. What district are you in, Bill?
It's probably 3 different times, but
31, I think. This is Jerry. I also believe that the QRT team is not going away. It's separate from this.
Okay.
Augments it. One augments the other, I would think, but they're both there.
Okay. Yeah.
John, I would say that when I look at the quick reaction team names, there's a tremendous number of people from Indiana on that QRT team.
How can I get the list of those people?
Jenny Rapini.
Okay. You think, Bill, there might be others on that team that would be willing to help out on this?
I think so. I mean, we've all been doing the same thing. Our calls when these things come, they usually are. You gotta react quickly within a day or 2 of getting an email about it, and your call list is sometimes it's as small as 3 when you're calling South Dakota.
Yeah.
But I've had 20 and 22 names to call.
Well, bless you, guys. I did this for the state of New Jersey for a while, calling, trying to seek out potential district captain candidates. And boy, I'll tell you, it was very rewarding when you got someone on the line that was really interested in what you were talking about. But it's like anything else; you got to go through so many before you come across the one that's interested. So
can't take it personally.
Right. Oh no, you can't. No. Okay. Well, John, you got one volunteer there, huh?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. All right. If you other region captains, if you would look over your regions and see if you can come up with a couple people that would be interested and get them in contact with John. We need to get this. Well, we don't have a deadline for sure, but I would say, we need to try and get this put together in the next couple of weeks for sure, I would think.
Virginia's wanting to move pretty quickly on this.
Yeah, I know they. Yeah.
It's going to be June already.
Yeah. Well, and the state director there's in the process of putting that list together and so forth. So I haven't heard anything from him as yet. So let's try and get this pulled together in the next couple of weeks. Okay. Anybody else have any questions on the sister state concept? Okie doke. Okay. There's something else I'd like to say on that. David, you got anything you want to add to that?
Well, not really. John pretty much covered all the points that I wanted to hear. Other than when is the Virginia legislative season over? Is that how much life do they have in the 2017 year?
Well, they're finished. In fact, their primary election is coming up next month, and when the parties will be choosing their candidates, and they have a different kind of system. Some districts meet in caucus to choose their nominees, and others go to the ballot box, choose their nominees. And I always thought that a state was either a caucus state or a voting state, but here in Virginia, it's two different systems for them to choose their nominees, and so that's coming up in June. And I'm not sure the dates. I don't know if they start in at the end of this year or if it just starts in the beginning of next year. But I think they wrapped up in April.
Okay, so how far did they get this year then? Will that carry over to the next, or they have to start from fresh?
Answer to that.
This is Jerry. I'm pretty sure they have to start over, just like most states do.
Yes.
And
yes.
John is, I believe, right on the April thing. What they're trying to do now is build up for next year because they know they didn't have it quite strong enough, and we need to help them with that. And you can help. There are things to do. For instance, a lot of profiles that don't have the addresses and therefore districts, and so the petitions are signed, but they didn't get out to the legislators because of the address being missing or faulty or something like that. So there's lots of things to do. I'm volunteering in Virginia myself as another SIA there. So they're just the sister state thing is kind of a new way of stating what some were already doing.
Some have been doing for some time, haven't you?
Right. Mm-hmm. And
Diane, was that
official?
Okay. What?
Yes, I was going to just fill in a little bit about Virginia. They have just a few key districts that they need to turn, and so this work is really important. And the summertime is when you win, and so this time that you might spend this summer, it might seem really far away because they won't be in session again till January, but you win in the off season. So I just wanted to throw that in there. And if someone asked how far they got, they passed the House. And then in the Senate, we had 3 Republicans who are Birchers who are standing in our way. So we really need to target those districts.
Good. Well, everyone, I know everyone heard that. That's Diane Gomez, our former state director. We're glad you could join us tonight, Diane.
Don't be a
thoroughly
stranger.
enjoying just listening. This is so much fun. I love it. You guys are doing a great job. I love the slideshow.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Someone else was saying something. Were you saying something, Jerry?
I said, don't be a stranger.
Yeah.
Oh, I miss you guys.
But believe me, she will be invited to every state call.
Cool.
So you're always welcome, Diane.
Well, I have appointed myself as head cheerleader, so.
All right. Okay, and we will be getting more information to you on this sister state concept. It's new to us too. The concept is, but like Jerry said, some of our people have been helping for a long time. So, but we'll get more information out on it as we receive it. I did want to mention before we close here, Paul Phillips, are you still on tonight?
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to, well, I'll tell you, Paul, why don't you tell everybody about your most recent podcast?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess it was a couple of weeks ago I started a podcast covering the Convention of States material. I've got 2 episodes out there now. Episode 1 just basically follows the COS basics presentation. Episode 1 describes the problem, and episode 2 describes the solution. And I posted a link to it on the Random channel on the COS Indiana Slack channel. You can find a link there if you're interested in listening to it. Is that what you were looking for, Dale?
That's yes. I'm sorry I didn't tell you about this. Okay. But I listened to
your last minute request to show up and talk to Pat Miller in a couple hours and.
Right. Yeah, I might mention that also. I believe it was last Friday. I was working a car auction here in our area, and I got a text from Pat Miller, from the local radio station here, who's very much a supporter of us, and wanting me to come on that day. Again, well, I couldn't do it, so make a long story short, I got a hold of Paul, and he filled in and did a fabulous job with the radio interview. So,
well, you know, Dale, after your last interview with him, you were shortly promoted to state director, so I'm still waiting for my promotion after mine.
Well, I'm going to tell Pat the next time I see him that it was in spite of that interview that I got promoted to the state director. I'm going to tell him, everybody told me I did a great job on the interview, and that other guy was okay. But so I still got promoted. But anyway, Paul did a great job on the interview, and you want to listen to his podcast. He's really doing a great job on these. Okay, so I want to close with I try to find a quote that I like, and this one I've liked ever since I read it, and this is from Mark Meckler. There's a single fundamental question facing us as Americans today, and it's not what should we do. The question facing us is who decides. I think that's a great quote. Anyone have any other questions or comments to make?
No, thank you.
David, you got anything you want to say in closing?
No, just thank you, Dale, for hosting the presentation tonight. Fabulous job. Thank you to all that joined on the call, and look forward to seeing and talking with each and every one of you in the future.
All right, great. Right, everyone, that is it for tonight. So put on your calendar, 4th Wednesday of every month. We'll try and do this again. So good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dale. Thanks, David.
Mm-hmm.